Good evening and welcome. Today is Wednesday, March the 20th, 2019, and this is the City of Anderson Board of Architectural Review. First item on the agenda, addenda. Anything?
Nothing else to add tonight, sir.
Very good. And then we'll move right into the public hearings. First being BAR 1904. Jeff.
The applicant has come before us before for several changes to this building. Most of those were approved in terms of some window replacements, paint color changes, new balconies on the building. And one of the things that the board heard was the color change. The applicant originally wanted to paint the entire building. What the board approved, though, was basically painting from this line back, and then there's another front line on the other side where they could paint back from. They have now gone and painted that. You can see the results here. The owner of the building would still like permission to paint the front. The color sample has been passed around as a two-tone color scheme, and so the lighter gray color is what you see on the building, and that's basically on this side, the back, and the right side of the building. The dark color would be the front of the building is what they're proposing. And so the entire front would be the new darker gray color. And so you can sort of see the line of division here on this side between them. And then this would be sort of the effect on the side that we're looking at here, with the darker gray on the front and then the lighter gray on the rest of the building. And so they are requesting approval again to make that change to paint the entire building, with the rest of it already being painted and just the addition of this darker gray in the front.
Sure. Glad to see you back. I like the original design with the paint. But let me ask, wasn't it two-tone on the front originally?
Originally it was.
Yeah, it was white. The also on the front.
Mm-hmm.
Only the central, the higher.
Right.
Yes, like that.
So, but now they're requesting this with all dark on the front instead of the two-tone on the front.
And also on the side, where the
Right.
goes higher.
Sure. I like the two-tone, but this certainly looks good as well. And the lighting, we've already approved the lighting, didn't we?
Yes, the lighting and the balconies were approved.
Certainly. So just as to the color, going ahead, painting the front, very cohesive look, very attractive colors. Comments, concerns, questions?
First, I just want to say I think your colors are beautiful, and I look at the architectural drawing you have, and it's clearly a kind of a tech clean updating of this little deco brick building. And I like it. I think it's nice. But I must say that I was confused about how that relates to historic preservation. So what I did is I went online and I looked up our guidelines that are different guidelines for the downtown district. And I wanted to see what it said about brick and refresh my mind about it. And I came to this sentence under the issue of masonry and brick. It says masonry that was not painted historically shall not be painted. So, and then it has a paragraph after that talking about how when you put paint on masonry, it actually weakens the structure of brick, which I didn't even know. I'm not an expert at brick and masonry. So thinking about this, I was torn in my own mind. Is it better to upgrade a little old building and make it look new and crisp and clean and pretty, according to our modern standards now? Or is it better to preserve it by what it was made to be when it was first designed? And I think my feeling is that the guidelines give me that answer. So I just wanted to make it clear that it isn't because I don't like what you have.
Andy.
We've allowed other changes like the modern balcony to be added to it, which to me changes the whole presence of that building. I don't like it painted better. I think the brick that's there, it really looks abused. I think this would freshen it up.
Did you try cleaning it? See if it
Yeah, I mean, it's really, now that you're looking at it more closely, it's really not that's shady. Portions of it are, but not everything. I mean, there's chunks missing. I mean, it's really not clean. Wish where. So And in contrast to the white, or the light color, I don't know, it doesn't seem look that nice. The brick color against the white, the night gray.
You were right the first time in your design.
Yeah, that's, so, yeah, I believe that.
And I think, Jeff, if you show the picture again of what it looks like now, that is true. I walk by here every single day. There are lots of chunks and things missing on that brick. And I think it'll almost enhance the style a bit more if it is painted.
Well, I think so. And with everything we do, we look at the individual application, a particular set of circumstances. I mean, what comes to mind, across the street, the old, something like King,
Mhm.
Portrait. Painting that brick, perhaps, different result and outlook to it. But in this particular set of circumstances, with what you've done, with what we've approved and moving forward, I think it's a cohesive design and it makes sense.
The brick as it is now looks dirty and unmaintained.
Unmaintained.
And so if it's painted, it will be enhanced and be clean and look good on Main Street. Help our Main Street look clean.
Any other comments? Is there a motion? We have a motion from Amanda, second from Bill. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
You got that? Opposed? Very good. Thank you for coming back. Look forward to the ongoing improvements in all of your projects. Next, we have BAR 1906.
There's a color sample going around for this item as well. The applicant is not here tonight, but we do have the color sample. This is the applicant that was unable to attend last month, could not get in the building. And so this is carried over from last month's meeting, this request. The applicant is requesting approval for new paint and porch columns on the property at 2006 Edgewood Avenue in the North Anderson Historic District. Property is a single-family residence. The applicant is seeking to paint the existing vinyl siding. The color is Phillipsburg blue, and so it would still be white trim, but with the new blue paint on the siding. And again, it's existing vinyl siding that they would be painting over. They would also be seeking to replace the metal columns that you see here. And then also on the porch to the left. According to the applicant, they're rusting and they want to replace them. They're seeking to remove the existing columns and replace them with 6 by 6 inch treated wooden posts. The posts will be painted white to match the trim on the house. When reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 3, Rehabilitation of Historic Resources. Following sections apply to this request. The first policy states to preserve primary historic building materials whenever feasible. In terms of the paint, using the historic color scheme is encouraged. Base or background color should be muted and reserve the use of bright colors to accent building features only. Next policy is to preserve a porch in its original condition and form. Repair a deteriorated porch instead of removing or replacing it. And replace a missing porch with one that appears similar to that seen historically. The board must decide if the proposed changes meet the above criteria. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have for staff, and the applicant is not present tonight.
Very good. Only question I've got, and you folks tell me, the 6 by 6 posts, proper proportions for this?
Yes.
Do you know the color for the foundation or the porch or the steps?
Right.
Is he gonna keep it the same color?
Yeah, as far as I know, they've not given me any other color information for that. So as far as I know, the only painting is the siding.
Would the trim that's white now remain white?
Yes.
All of that.
I think that is a solid word.
Okay, I mean, I knew that the ironwork is larger than you think. It's 5 or 6 by 6. Okay.
I think that really is less than 6 in reality.
Yes.
So-
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like most of the foundation,
And we don't know whether
Semi-painted.
ironwork on top or bottom.
from looking at the pictures here.
Yeah. Other questions?
Do you think he's gonna leave the foundation the way it is?
I would need to get more information from the applicant on that. I know Jill has spoken to them, but I don't know if they've discussed that aspect of it, so.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way, even if they left it the way it is, you know,
That would be fine. I just didn't want him to go
Change
paint it white, necessarily. Typically, that would not be, but I know it has been.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
sure.
That's okay. Mhm.
I mean, it is unfortunate that the applicant's not here to answer these final questions. Yes, ma'am.
Well, Bill was just saying, it says there will be some additional accent trim painted wild currant, but
That was the original
so they,
that we had from the applicant that has changed over time to strictly being the blue color of the body of the house now. So the application information has changed over time. So the original staff report was written with the original information in mind, so.
okay, I missed that.
So with that, are we comfortable in proceeding? Okay, is there a motion? All right, we have a motion from Moyer. Is there a second? A second from Andy to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And are you recusing yourself? And no, Jill has recused herself. Now on to BAR 1909.
Wasn't a door color, not sure one of the.
Okay, okay. His mom has red.
The applicant is seeking to make several changes on the property at 2408 Edgewood Avenue in the North Anderson Historic District. The property is a single-family residence. The applicant is seeking to make the following changes. Install vinyl double-hung replacement windows and to repaint the front door. In terms of the windows, the applicant is proposing to replace all of the existing windows with new vinyl double-hung windows with matching exterior grids. Basically, everything is 6/1 double-hung windows on the house right now. Staff has discussed a requirement for the exterior simulated divided light grid on the window with the applicant. And we've got the example of that here with the big texture grid on the outside of the window. When reviewing this portion of the application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 3 of the Residential Design Guidelines for Rehabilitation of Historic Resources. Following sections apply to this request. First policy states to preserve the size and shape of historically significant windows and doors, repair a deteriorated window or door instead of replacing it or enclosing it altogether, replace a window or door that is damaged beyond repair with one similar to that seen historically. And then in terms of the front door, it's kind of a dark, almost Charleston green color now. They are looking to change that to one of the 3 red colors that are being passed around with the X's on them. So it would be a red front door on the building. So It does have vinyl siding on it now on the house, so it's not original to its original design. Board must decide the proposed improvements meet the above criteria. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have for staff, and the applicant is here tonight as well.
Double hung windows, same grid pattern as the existing. Exterior grids to that. And repainting the front door. Nice red to bring it forward. Any comments, concerns, or questions? Hearing none, is there a motion?
We got a motion that we approve both.
Motion for Bill, is there a second? From Andy? Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
Allow them to choose any of the three red colors for the door. Okay.
Question about the windows. Where'd you find the windows with the outside grids?
It's gonna have to be a special order window, whether we're getting it at Lowe's or whether we're getting it, Home Depot.
Huh?
If we get it at Home Depot, the windows will come, that they're not between the two panes of glass, so they are removable. So they're actually cheaper to go through Home Depot than what it would be Lowe's, but Lowe's can special order them in that size. Again, we're not changing any dimensions or anything else, it's a standard size. But, without the bottom grid, so that would be the procedure that we'll go with.
Right. Do you know what brand it was?
Again, I did give,
It may be on Jeff's feet.
the plans, the pamphlets off the top of my head. One is,
The American Craftsman and Reliabuilt are the two.
Reliability.
No.
Very good.
The one that I showed with the grid in it was the American Craftsman.
Love the windows, but you can't open them.
It happens. All right, now we're off to BAR 1910.
The applicant is requesting approval for a new fence at 213 Forest Avenue. Property is a single-family residence in the North Anderson Historic District. The applicant is seeking to install a 6-foot-high wooden privacy fence in their side and backyards. So you have East North Avenue, you got Forest Avenue here, the house fronts on Forest Avenue. The pink color here is where they're seeking to install their new fence. It matches the neighbor's fence that is located directly behind them in terms of height, materials, color. It's a 6-foot-high wooden stockade-type fence. The fence would be sealed or stained to keep a natural wood look. Again, it will match the existing fence at their neighbor's house. When reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 5, Site Design. The section regarding fences and site walls applies here. The policy states that a fence or site wall should be in character with those used traditionally and relate to the principal structure on the lot. Preserve original fences and walls. Where no fence exists, keeping the yard open may be the best approach for a front yard. Where a new fence is needed, it should be similar in character with those seen historically. Appropriate materials for fences that can be seen from the public right-of-way are wrought iron or wood picket, and a side yard fence should be set back from the primary facade of the home. The board must decide the proposed improvements meet the above criteria. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have for staff, and I do not believe the applicant is here tonight.
Wooden stockade fence matching the neighbor.
Just one little question. Can you show the overlay of the property? Yes. The jog in it, where it comes off, what is that, North Street?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make sense.
Here?
Yeah.
There's a gate?
Is there a gate there?
There is not, and I've spoken with the applicant about this. This is the property line. And so the neighbor's fence is off the property line a little bit, and their proposal is to basically connect their fence into the neighbor's fence. We don't have a rule that says they cannot do that. I've advised them against that. just because you never know in the future if you're gonna have neighbor issues and, if there's gonna be a problem with that fence going over the property line, in the future, say at a house sale or something like that. I've not heard anything back from the applicant that has changed. But, I mean, basically, we could count it as their fence to the property line, the neighbors from that point on. So I don't really have anything that would regulatorily allow me to say they can't do that. But I have recommended to them that they just continue it down the line on their own property.
So I'm confused. Are they adding fence right next to the neighbors?
Yes, the neighbor's fence here is.
There. And they're,
That is in existence here.
right?
And so their fence would basically connect to that fence at this point, go around. Their fence would continue here down to this point.
Okay, so they're not gonna add fence on top of fence, they're just simply connecting to it, okay. The extra pink line through me. Okay.
So that front portion is their property line, and they're just connecting it.
Right. Right. So really, it only strays over at this little section here and a little bit here.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I have a question. In my neighborhood, 3 different neighbors across from me have put in large stockade fences, 6 foot high, same design as what we just saw in the picture. And all of them have been left raw wood. And I just don't like the look. To me, it looks kind of like Sunset Magazine in the 60s or something. It doesn't look like a historic southern neighborhood to me. I think, and I looked it up in the guidelines to see, because I thought that it had said something. When I came before the board myself to do my fence, you guys wanted me to paint it, and I did. And it's nice. So I'm questioning that. Do we require people to not have just the look of a raw wood fence? Shouldn't it be painted opaque in some color?
Well, they indicated here, the application, that it would be sealed and stained.
Right.
Then you say wood.
That color, right.
They want it to look like wood, so it would be clear? Is that what
That is the information they've given to me at this time, right.
To me, that isn't the sort of historic neighborhood look. What do you guys think?
I think it would look a lot better painted.
Usually these fences are not made with very nice boards either, because that's the cheap boards that you do it with. And they don't look very good after a while. They fade and they look kind of.
Didn't we find, when we recently reviewed the guidelines regarding natural?
I mean, it says it should be, I think the main thing is that it's not left unsealed.
That's,
You want a protective coating on it so that it will weather better. It doesn't, I mean, we have not necessarily made people paint them a specific color in the past, but to be stained or sealed or painted in some form or fashion.
as opposed to being left raw.
As opposed to being left raw wood, correct.
That's what I thought. So, while Matt might have personal preferences and might share that with you, nonetheless, as Jeff has reminded us, what they're looking to do by sealing it or staining it is in conformity.
Right, and that's a question I always ask because I know it comes up with the board, you know, what their plans are for that, so.
Anything else?
Yep. One more thing about that, just one more thought.
Sure.
In the past, when these houses were built, there was no such thing as clear seal. There was paint. That's what fences were. That's my thought.
Okay.
Is the adjoining property,
I don't know.
is the adjoining property in the historic district?
It is.
So do we approve that fence?
I am researching that. I don't know that we have, but I don't know how long that fence has been there, but I'm been trying to look that up this week to see if we have or have not, so.
It is not painted.
It is not, no, it's identical to this. I mean, it could be, I mean, this has only been in district for 10 years, so it could be that that was done beforehand. I don't know exactly when that one was done. I'm trying to, and they don't need a permit because it's 6 feet, so we don't have any record of it I can find, and I don't have any record of it coming before the board, so I'm trying to determine when it was built.
I think the concern that I have, the is, where it fronts the road. Looking at the neighbor's fence, it's behind the house. The fence is behind the house. This one, I don't know how long that stretch of property is, but
Well, this would be their side yard. I mean, I know it fronts the road, but this house fronts Forest Avenue.
right.
This is one-way traffic through here going north, and so it's not a visibility issue for us from our normal requirements. There shouldn't be any issues with the neighbor going in and out of their driveway, which is one of the things we look at, with the fence being at the road like that.
That's not what, yeah, I understand that. The aesthetics of it is what I was. That the neighbor's unpainted fence is not something that's the face of a passerby. This one would be, so. Just to confirm it.
Other comments? Yeah.
But it would be more appealing if it stayed in line with the neighbor's fence and all, but it's a side yard. We've approved side yards come out all the way to sidewalk.
I mean, there's no indication to treat it as a second front yard, is there?
I mean, by our standards, I mean, you can do a fence right up to the front property line, even if it's in a front yard by our normal zoning standards. I mean, obviously, it'd typically be lower if it's truly the front yard. We've approved similar in the past. I mean, Bill's fence that we just approved last month, I think it was, 6, 7 foot high fence right on, the lower traffic road, clearly, but, again, right up against the road. So the location wise.
Right.
I know you're thinking more of paint than the actual location then, but, so.
Other comments? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
A motion from Bill to approve. Is there a second? We have a second from Andy. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. And finally tonight, VAR 1911.
The applicant is seeking approval for exterior alterations on the property at 109 South Mississippi Street in the downtown historic district. The property is the home of Whitner and Company Co-working. Now, the problem that they're facing is the rear entrance to the building. When it rains, they're getting a lot of water intrusion. And so they've showed me pictures where when you come in that door, there's probably a 5-6 foot patch where it gets wet every time it rains. And so they're seeking to install an awning to help prevent that in the future. It'd be a black canvas awning with no signage on it. Measure approximately 9 feet wide, 2 feet high, and 4 feet in depth, as you can see here. When reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 9, Design Guidelines for Awnings and Canopies. Following sections apply to this request. Policy states that an awning or canopy should be similar to those seen historically. Should be similar in material and construction to the style of the building, and should be mounted to accentuate character-defining features. The board must decide if the proposed changes meet the above criteria. Happy to answer any questions that you have for staff.
Canvas awning over back door. Any concerns? Is there a motion? Motion from Mary Lou, second from Moyer. All in favor? Aye. Very good. That concludes the public hearing portion. Patrice have prepared the minutes of February, given them to us in advance. Any corrections? Motion to approve. Motion from Bill, second from Mary Lou. All in favor? Aye. Very good. Patrice, thank you. Anything further tonight?
That's it.
Thank you all for being here. Motion to adjourn. Bill, thank you. Andy, second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're done.